Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about personal auto insurance in Georgia. If you've been in the state any amount of time, you can see that our rates have adjusted and none have gone down, they've all gone up. So I want to talk about what's going on in the state of Georgia, as well as some good options for you to think about on your auto insurance policy. So starting off, Georgia facts, 1,549. That's how many people died in auto accidents in Georgia last year on the highways. 481, that's the number of deaths we're up to this year on Georgia highways. A lot of people, a lot of accidents, more injuries, more fatalities. Okay, Georgia is one of the top in the nation as far as fatalities right now. It's been trending since I think about 2008. We've been working up. Most of the nation has as well. Georgia had 54%, overall, Georgia saw a 54% rate adjustment since 2011 in insurance rates in Georgia. Interesting enough, with all those changes, we're still ranked right around 26th in the nation for the cost of insurance, auto insurance in the nation. Michigan's actually number one. All that being said, everybody in Georgia has seen adjustments in their rates. And the first thing that a lot of people go to is, what should I do about my policy, reducing coverages to get my rate down? That's a natural thing. Unfortunately, some agents are advising that as well. Here's the thing. We're one of the highest in the nation of accidents and deaths on the highway. And, I know a lot of statistics are made up. I've heard statistics that if you live in Atlanta or the surrounding metro, you're 40% more likely than the national average to have to file a claim. If that's theft, if it's an actual auto accident, if it's a collision with a deer or an animal. So my thought is, if all this stuff is up, why is the natural reaction to reduce coverages? So when I have a client who has a conversation about their rates and ways we can try to help them save, or just looking at their policy as a whole, we do that in a different approach other than automatically going and reducing coverages. Because frankly, if you live in Atlanta or the surrounding metro, you are more likely to have an auto accident. Do you want to have that accident with less coverage on your policy? So a couple things to think about. Comprehensive and collision, okay? Average on that is $500 deductibles. The thought is some people automatically just remove comprehensive and collision. Another way to try to save some money is adjust this. This is a very controllable part of your policy. If you lower your liability limits, you can't control how much damage you're going to cause to someone or their vehicle if you have an accident. But you can assume your own risk with your physical damage coverage for your vehicles. If they're getting a little older, they talk about 10 years. Once a vehicle's 10 years old, maybe it's worth considering going to liability, so removing comprehensive and collision. I necessarily don't go off that rule of thumb. I have some people with vehicles that are less than 10 years old that have liability, no physical damage, and some people with vehicles or clients with vehicles that are well over 10 years old and they still carry comp and collision. My thought process on this is, what kind of situation is that going to put you in? If you have a vehicle that's 12 years old and it is your only mode of transportation and you're not in a position where you can just go buy another vehicle, well, if you walk out tomorrow and that vehicle has been stolen, you're probably going to want to get whatever money the insurance company would provide you, as well as probably need a rental car in the meantime. Not next week, that day. You're going to need a rental car so you can get back and forth to work, take care of your kids, take care of your family. So I don't automatically assume getting rid of comprehensive and collision. What you could do, though, is look at maybe taking collision. I always recommend starting with collision. It's one of the highest costs in the policy. Taking it maybe from a lower deductible to a higher deductible, $1,000. With doing that, worst case scenario, I have an accident, my deductible is $1,000. So a good way to do it there. Property damage, okay? Property damage and bodily injury are what are considered liability on your insurance policy. They break up into two sections. The state says that in the state of Georgia, you have to carry $25,000 in property damage coverage. So you run a red light, you hit me in my hoopty, right? the property damage to my vehicle, the most the policy is going to pay out is $25,000. For bodily injury, it breaks down per person and then per accident. So that would be $25,000 per person for bodily injury, $50,000 per occurrence or per accident. All right, this is what the state says you have to carry. These are very low limits. I've had clients who've carried these limits, have accidents over that, and the other person come back and sue them for the remainder of the money. I had one just last year. It was a $32,000 claim. My carrier paid out $25,000 and met its requirements. The customer got a bill for $7,000 from the party that he was liable to. They had to come out of pocket and pay. This is what the state says you have to carry. These limits are not good enough, period. I highly recommend that you carry limits instead of $25,000. This is the limit of a minimum of $50,000, preferably $100,000 on this limit, but a starting point is $50,000. Bodily injury, instead of $25.50, go $50, $100. So $50,000, $100,000. Once again, this is a starting point. This is not, oh, everything's good and fine, I should never look at it again. Easy changes, not much difference. It's a good, solid investment to mitigate your risk. That's what you always hear me talking about, mitigating your risk. This is an easy way to do it. Next thing is uninsured motorist coverage. If you don't have this coverage, you need it. If somebody has an accident, causes an accident with you, and is uninsured or underinsured, this is what protects you. All right? Same thing. I recommend whatever you do to your liability limits, you carry the same limit for your uninsured motorist coverage. So match it. If you're going to go with the lowest recommendation of $50,000 for property damage, $50,000, $100,000 for bodily injury, make that the same for here. Okay? Last thing, ways to save. Group your policies. If you're paying for life insurance somewhere else or you haven't invested in life insurance yet, go to your current agent and ask them about it. Some of my carriers give 5% discounts for just grouping your life. It's not so much about how you can cut money off, it's how you can stretch your dollar. Think about it that way. If your home is with one carrier, your renter's insurance is with one carrier, your auto's with one, your life is at another, grouping that stuff together will give you additional discounts. Your commercial, if you own a business, all right, having your commercial insurance with the same place you have your personal sometimes can provide additional discounts. That's great ways to do it. Talk about savings inside the policy. Paperless policy discounts. A lot of companies have gone to these telematics devices where you plug it in your vehicle, it can give you additional savings. I work with one that gives a 40% discount. You can max out at a 40% discount with the telematics device. You only have to keep it in your vehicle 6 months. Multi-lining telematics devices, defensive driving. A lot of people's employers now require or offer defensive driving classes, especially in the city of Atlanta because of all the things going on with the accidents. Great ways that you need to have conversations with your agents to save, but at a minimum, start thinking about the limits you carry and how they protect you. Invest in your policy. Look for ways to save in your policy, but look at ways to invest in your policy because your chances of having an accident, if you're in the Atlanta metro or surrounding suburbs, is much higher than the national average. So make sure you're properly protecting yourself and look for ways to save. If you get any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can direct message me to the Facebook page, Chapman Insurance Group, or you can look us up at ChapmanInsuranceGRP.com. Thank you.